Hi. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Dutchess. This is my channel, Dutchess Divinity, and we do lots of stuff here, but today I'm going to tell you a story time, and before I start, I'm going to put on some of my cute, shiny pink lip gloss because it's pretty and it sounds nice. And yeah, I just felt like it. I'm doing ASMR now. I'll link that channel if you're interested. I use this, gum, all sorts of weird stuff, so check it out. So today I'm going to tell you a story. This was sent in by one of the subscribers. I'm super excited to read it. This is the first story time that I'm reading of someone else's, and this is for the segment. First of all, okay, look at my outfit. So cute. So cute. And we just did the beauty spell yesterday, and I'm feeling beautiful. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling Aphrodite. Oh, hold on. I wanted to put on my Moldavite. There we go. I wanted to put on my Moldavite for this occasion because this is the first of many, hopefully, stories that I tell of subscribers and viewers. So yeah, I'm excited. So, yep, we did the beauty spell yesterday. I'm feeling amazing. Gonna go down to the crossroads after this and see the spirits, go to the cemetery, do a bunch of fun stuff. So, yeah. This story I started to read, and then I was like, no, I want to get like my first impression. So I only read the first couple lines, and so what you're gonna see now is like my first impression and experience with this story, and then at the end what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna share my thoughts on everything as a medium and a psychic and a witch who's been doing this for 13 years, so I guess you could call me some sort of expert in my field. I definitely have a lot of knowledge that other people don't, so yeah. And then one more disclaimer, you don't have to believe this person's story, you don't have to believe in what I believe. I'm not here to tell you what to believe, what's true and what's not. That's fine. I respect your beliefs, just respect mine and be kind in the comments. That's all I ask. I just ask for kindness, and I never want you to feel like I'm pushing something on you, because that is never my intent at the end of the day. You're just a random person on the internet. I'm just a random girl on the internet, and I have no stake in whether or not, you know, you believe this or don't. So please don't feel any kind of pressure. All right, let's get into it. Let me get comfy. We're gonna turn on my moon. He's light up moon, and so he will make us feel cozy during this spooky story. And then I'll put my creepy pillow also behind me. You're it and support my back. Okay. So this person is called Scar. That's what they want to be called. Wait, I had to take off my platform Crocs if you're wondering what I'm doing. These are the platform Crockies, jelly Crockies from the children's section with the giblets that I put on the giblets all by myself. They didn't put them together, I did. But still, that's what I'm taking off because I need to get a little grounded, maybe sit a little cross-legged for this story. I don't know, let's see. Okay, so Scar starts out by saying, "Oh my god!" Exclamation points. Okay, first off, hey, been watching you for a couple years now and love your energy and channel so much. Thank you for existing. You're welcome. Thanks for the support. Gotta take out my pop socket. If you're wondering, I have Godzilla broccoli and a snow globe pop socket. Okay. The side note as well, if you know my channel, you know I love my Grampy, and my Grampy's like, he's like 85 and kind of cranky, and he was like, "What is that?" He was like angry. He's like, "Why is that a Godzilla broccoli? Why is that a snow globe?" And I was like, "I don't know, I just like it." So yeah, anyway. Okay, so this story, as I mentioned, has been on my mind every single day since it happened. It was 2011 and I was 18 going on 19. I lived with my first serious boyfriend at the time, who was my best friend and literally what seemed like my only hope in this after growing up in an extremely toxic household where my mom and stepfather made my life a living hell, to say the least. all while making me work and help them pay bills since the age of 12 and still keep my bedtime at 8 p.m. till the day I graduated high school. I'm sorry to hear that. That sucks. Anyway, he knew everything I was dealing with and said we needed to get our own place so I wouldn't have to deal with it anymore. We both got a job at the same call center and everything was good for a few months until he started getting increasingly agitated over the smallest things, which then turned into verbal and physical abuse. Again, I'm very sorry. All he ended up wanting to do was play video games with his friends and started calling into work so much he eventually lost his job, which left me paying for everything and extremely stressed. So the first piece of information I want to give about this is, as somebody who works in energies, sometimes we continue to repeat the same patterns, not just because it's in our soul contracts and it's something that we signed up to overcome in this life, but because it's literally stuck in our aura. So when we think about the auric field, yes, it looks like, if you can see, if you have like the ability to see people's auras, it looks like colors, but when we break it down at its smallest level, it's like particles and binary codes. Like when you think about the matrix, that's generally what this reality or simulation or whatever you think it is made of. Again, you don't have to believe what I'm saying, this is just my input. But so think about it, you're running a certain binary code in your aura because there's some sort of thing you need to overcome in your life, some sort of contract that needs to be vanquished or overcome, right? Like you have to, this could be a pattern you've been repeating for many lifetimes if you believe in different lives, and so your baseline aura is always going to shift back into that binary code sequence because you haven't overcome it yet, right? For one reason or another. Now, sometimes you can overcome it, but it's been in your baseline binary code for so long that it continues to repeat well after you've learned the lesson. So this is where I think that quantum hypnosis helped me, going actually into the subconscious and doing some like hypnosis work to actually shift those binary codes within your aura that keep attracting you to the same situation over and over again. Sorry, I twitched. I'm a little twitchy. I got in a car accident in 2016 and sometimes a bitty twitches, okay? All right. Let's see. One night I decided to go, all he ended up wanting to do was play video games with his friends and started calling into work so much he eventually lost his job, which left me paying for everything and extremely stressed. Every girl knows that feeling, telling them when something is up. So when he was asleep, I grabbed his phone and went through everything. It didn't take long to find something. I went through his Facebook messages and there they were. Messages with his ex-girlfriend talking about when they were going to hang out again, etc. I woke him up and confronted him. Big mistake. He then started physically fighting me and putting me in a headlock and saying all sorts of horrible things to me. I cried myself to sleep in the next room. Again, I'm really sorry. You do not deserve that. That's horrible. And I'm very sorry you've experienced this. The next day was a Sunday. I had scheduled myself for overtime because, as I mentioned, I was paying for everything and needed every penny. I felt numb, just getting up and going to work. He dropped me off, asked me for gas money, and he said he'd be back to pick me up after my shift. I just want to give another side note. I was in an extremely abusive relationship for a couple years of my life, and so I really can empathize with this when you like go through something so horrific with them and then you have to just carry on the next day like nothing ever happened because they don't necessarily take responsibility for their actions. So I can really empathize with how that feels. I'm sure a lot of people watching this who have also had that experience can empathize as well. I went in and where I worked, there were two sections to the call center. To the right was the tech department for any typical dish satellite assistance you may need, and to the left was the loyalty department where the calls would be routed. I'm sorry. Let me try that one again. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, let's try this. To the right was the tech department for any typical dish satellite assistance you may need, and to the left was the loyalty department where the calls would be routed to if the customer requested to cancel their account. That's where I worked. And on the weekends, half the staff worked either on Saturday or Sunday. My side where my team had assigned seating was empty. I was the only one on my team who signed up for overtime. I was relieved. I didn't have to speak to anyone, considering I just had one of the worst nights of my life, understandably so. It was all I could think about, and I could feel the deep heaviness in my heart as I walked towards my computer. There was no other team near me for rows. 1 or 2 employees scattered throughout my department with desk dividers at each computer for customer discretion. I started taking calls when on my second call I found myself crying and venting to a random customer. I couldn't help it! 2 exclamation points. I don't mean to giggle. I'm only giggling because that is something I would absolutely do, okay? Like, and it's something that happens to me, like, every time I need a call for customer assistance as someone who's just, like, a healer and a psychic. It's like I'll be calling about my insurance or anything. Next thing I know, I've been on the phone with this person for, like, 45 minutes, and they're telling me all about how they're having a family reunion, and then they're gonna do a road trip, and, like, I get it. That's why I'm laughing. I was so heartbroken and had no one to speak to about what I was going through. That I understand as well. After I took that call, I took my headset off, put my head on my desk, and just sobbed hysterically. I knew I couldn't be troubling people with my problems just because I had them. I was at work! Exclamation point. Just then, I felt a tap on my right shoulder. I turned around to see a man sitting in the desk behind me, swivel chair facing me. He asked, "Hey, are you okay?" I said, "Yes, I'm okay." He then said, "I just wanted to tell you that you're too beautiful to be crying." I immediately got annoyed and thought, really? Now? I can relate to that as well. He saw my expression and said, no, not like that. Then paused and said, "Do you want to play a game?" Red flag! Red flag! No! Saul says that. No! Oh no! Oh, okay. And I figured since I was having the most terrible day of my life anyway, oh God, girl, when I've been so low and I do the stupidest shit, like, God, one time I was like so miserable and I like got in the car with a stranger. PSA, never, ever, ever do that. Never do that. I'm so lucky to be alive, but I get it. It's like you're just like at your wit's end and you're like, it's like that Lana Del Rey song. It's like, if he's a serial killer, then what's the worst that can happen to a girl who's already hurt? I'm already hurt. I get it. But I don't recommend it, okay? And I figured since I was having the most terrible day of my life anyway, I was just doing overtime. I thought, whatever. So I said, yeah, sure, F it. He then proceeded to grab a piece of paper and rip it into tiny pieces. He handed me half the stack and kept the other half. He sat at the computer next to me and said, "Okay, I'm going to ask you some questions. I want you to first think of the answer, then I want you to write it down, then crumble it up and put it aside, okay?" I said, "Okay." Mind you, there is one other desk next to me and then the wall. There is also a divider between desks, so there was no way to see a reflection of what I was writing at all. He starts saying, "Okay, but we're going to start with easy questions first." So he starts to ask me very simple things. My favorite color when I was a kid, my favorite artist to listen to, etc. And as soon as I would think of the answer, he would look directly into my eyes, then say, "Okay," and would start writing. Sometimes before I did. When he finished asking me the simple questions, we compared the answers, and everything was exactly the same. And she put period. Exactly the same. If I capitalized a letter, so did he. If I put a punctuation, so did he. Then he said, "All right, now let's do some harder questions." So I said, "Okay," still wary, but at this point curious because, what? Agree. Anyway, my nose is itching, and whenever my nose itches, it means like something is coming, like something is coming back into your life or something is coming into your life. So I don't know, Scar, I feel like you might be getting some answers that you seek in the physical realm soon, or you might run into this individual again, but we're not ready for my input yet. But just know the nose is itching, okay? Okay, let's fix the hair. Let's fix the hair and get on to the next part of the game. Anyway, the way he asked the questions, might I mention, were almost as if he already knew the answers, which scared me, but I also wasn't sure what to feel. Yeah, I can see why. He asked me about my father's name, then clarified with your real father's name. He asked me how I lost my virginity. However, he said not to say details, just to say if whether it was a good or bad experience. And when I thought of that answer before writing it down, he looked at me and said, I am so sorry. Then proceeded to write it down. I remember looking at him in disbelief when he was writing after he said that, because how? Was he really hearing what I was saying in my head? After we compared those questions' answers, I was stunned. Everything matched. He saw the look on my face as confirmation, I assumed for whatever he needed, then turned his entire body to me and said, look, I wanted to tell you that I've been seeing everything he's been doing to you. Mind you, I had not brought up my ex. He was not a topic at all. Yet I had an understanding of what he was referring to. He then proceeded to say, what if I told you I could make him be the best partner to you? He would be faithful, give you everything you wanted, never leave your side. He wouldn't love you. Would you be okay with that? Wait, I'm sorry. I'm shaking in my boots. Hold on. What if I'm sorry, guys. Maybe I'm not the best reader, but I'm doing my best. I'm a different kind of reader. I'm a tarot reader. What if I told you I could make him be the best partner to you? He would be faithful, give you everything you wanted, never leave your side, but he wouldn't love you. Would you want that? I said, no, confused. He continued, okay. And what if I told you I could make him pay for everything he's done to you, and he'd be miserable for the rest of his life? And I said, no. And he said, why not? And I said, because no matter what he's done to me, I would never wish anything bad upon him, ever. To which he nodded slowly and said, good answer. Whew, I just felt the chills. It still gives me chills just remembering how he said it and the face he made. He then said, look, I just want to tell you that we've been around for centuries, and I can tell you that in a year from now, you'll be the happiest you've ever been. I won't tell you if it's going to be with him, with somebody else, or yourself, but just know that in a year from now, you will be the happiest you've ever been in your life, and you're going to think about this moment and remember me, but you'll never see me again. I just got chills again. We have a radio blackout solar flare. I don't think you can see it, but I get notifications when the sun is doing crazy things, so, well, okay. I want to just repeat that again. Okay. Look, I just want to tell you that we've been around for centuries. Who is this guy? He's like some sort of, he's something. I don't know yet. Let's see. Look, I just want to tell you that we've been around for centuries. I'm almost wondering if he's a jinn, because there's all different kinds of jinn, and he's like offering to grant your wishes, and it's like neither of them are necessarily like they're both light and dark, but also the light one wasn't really that light, 'cause it's not like he'd love you, you'd just be in control of him. But jinn are really good at not only like the genies, they grant your wishes, but also it's like a lot of jinn like don't play and will mess with people. So the fact that he offered to like take him down and like ruin his life, or make him like, he just, whatever this old thing was, he did not like the way that this man had been treating you, and he was willing to take over his free will in some way to force him to not treat you like that, because he was so personally offended by the way that your ex was treating you. That's what I'm thinking, and that kind of makes sense as a jinn, because jinn have a temper, and they also don't like bullies. Like, they do not like bullies. So let's keep going. I also thought too, like, the fae, because fairies are not necessarily all light-bodied. Like, a lot of them, I've met creepy fairies before, and when I met the creepy fairies, I could totally understand why TikTok was like, the fae are evil, because, like, if you have no idea what you're talking about and then you meet a creepy fairy, I can see why, like, you would think that. But, yeah, so, yeah. Those are my thoughts right now. Also, a mimic, like, kept coming through, which is just some sort of, like, older demonic creature, not necessarily bad demon, just like daemonic, like an older creature that mimics the form of a human. And it's like, when you have, so you were having like an extreme emotional outburst, and when we have these extreme emotional outbursts, it can absolutely create portals. And because you were in like a neutral to low, well, I wouldn't call you neutral at all. Well, a little bit, because you still had your wits about you. Like, you could still understand, like, I don't want to be venting to these people on the phone. So you weren't completely low. So you had, like, small semblance of neutrality, but very low, painful vibration. Opened up some sort of portal. And it's always like, sometimes when you're in your lowest energy and you go calling for help, you never know really what's going to come through. And because I think that emotional outburst opened up a portal, I think something neutral to low came through. And low vibrational and low density isn't necessarily bad, it's just more dense, right? Like, higher vibrations are generally seen as like better and happier and more enjoyable, because yeah, they can be, but it doesn't make them right or wrong. It doesn't make it good or bad, you know? So look, I just want to tell you that we've been around for centuries, and I can tell you that, oh, I also thought as well, possibly an ancestor, but as soon as he said we've been around for centuries, I was thinking maybe your ancestry line, like maybe an ancestor you've never met before. That's what I immediately thought, was it was like a passed on ancestor. So if he's saying we've been around for centuries, he could mean your family line, but I really am getting the feeling that this thing wasn't even human. So yeah. Here we go again. Look, I just want to tell you that we've been around for centuries, and I can tell you that in a year from now, you will be the happiest you've ever been. I won't tell you if it's going to be with him, with somebody else, or yourself, but just know that in a year from now, you'll be the happiest you've ever been in your life, and you're going to think about this moment and remember me, but you'll never see me again. Then he stood up and started to walk away, and he was about to leave, and he said, oh, and your hair looks way better the way it naturally is, when it's curly. Then he walked away and waved goodbye and just walked out of the building. No answers, nothing. What the heck? I'm tearing up just thinking about it. That moment has stuck with me forever because of what I'm about to tell you. A year later, I did think of him. I remember almost on the day. It was the last week of May in 2012, and I was training myself to join the Air Force. Single, happy, carefree, and full of the Holy Spirit. The only thing I had were me and God, and I felt so whole and happy, and finally like I knew who I was. I feel like he gave me I just got chills. I feel like he gave me an answer to my life, which was that all I ever needed was in me. I am to this day where I draw my strength from. I am to this day where I draw my strength from. That's good. I, however, would be nothing without the strength that I feel is given to me by God, our Creator, whoever you want to believe in. I know for a fact because I was living in a house said years later that was riddled with bad entities, and I could not be touched because of God. I stand by that. So now I still have no idea who that man was or what he was. I don't know if I'll ever know, but I know my life would probably be entirely different had it not happened. Any insight is appreciated. Love you, Dutch. P.S. I forgot to mention, the reason the curly hair comment was so important is because when I was in 7th grade, I had a huge crush on this boy named Daniel, and he was friends with one of my good friends, Amanda. Little to my knowledge, they would pass notes to talk bad about me. She told him that I wanted to unalive myself, and he said, and I quote, "Good, I hope she does. I'll give her the knife." What the? Sounds like they had some bad entities on them, dude. Okay, I'm gonna go into what I think about that. I haven't thought of it till right now. Jesus. Anyway, he told her as well that he thought girls with curly hair were ugly and that he only liked girls with straight hair. Since then, I religiously straightened my hair and hated it curly. That's why when that man said that comment as he walked away, it was so profound. Okay, that's all. I can't wait to hear your thoughts on this. Have a beautiful day. Thank you, Scar, for so much for sharing that with me. That was fascinating. Okay. So the first thing I want to say as well is sometimes when you're a super high vibrational like human, there can be a lot of negative entities that want to take you down, and whether you believe it or not, I believe that we're in a spiritual war right now. I feel like wherever you look, you can see good and evil, and I feel as though there's just a lot of craziness happening in the world, and I think that anyone with eyes can see and understand and agree with that, whether they believe in the spiritual aspect or not. So when we're trying to come to the 5D, when we're trying to raise the frequency of the planet, when we're trying to come into Christ consciousness, if you are of a very high vibration, you have a lot of power, these negative entities will stick to people who are of lower vibrations or who have addiction issues and come through and attack you. So like when people say stuff that you like can't even believe they're saying, or you're like, this doesn't even sound like you, it's genuinely most of the time not them. It's some sort of entity that has matched their vibration and come through to use them as a talking head to try and hurt you, to get you into a lower vibration. So that's what I think about that. And I think I stand by the fact that I think he was some sort of djinn. I'm also seeing Ireland, so like I just keep seeing Ireland in my head, so I don't know if there's some sort of spirits out there that, and I'm almost seeing like a guy with like a briefcase and a top hat, which is like what people say, how like when you go to the crossroads to sell your soul, like that's what shows up. Now, I go to the crossroads all the time. I still got my soul, baby. But, you know, when I think of the top hat and the cane, well, when I think of a top hat and a cane, not a briefcase, I think of Ilegua, who's like a crossroads spirit. I also think of the Baron Samode. So it's like, and I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. Please be kind if I did not. But, yeah, so I think of kind of like trickster crossroad spirits when I'm thinking of this. I'm also seeing Ireland. I'm like channeling Ireland, so I don't know if they have a version of like a trickster crossroad spirit because I'm not as well versed in that. But I do also feel like it could be a djinn because of everything I stated previously, because they do not like bullies. They do not like abuse, really. They don't like, and they have a temper. And so if you have this bright light and you have so much to share with the world, and you have this power, this djinn, despite the low vibration, like it could have come through that portal and been like, also the fact that it was watching you is super fascinating to me. So maybe it does have something to do with your lineage, because that was what I was thinking off the bat, how it had some sort of connection to your ancestry. So I don't know if your ancestry has some sort of connection to Ireland or to the djinn, but I think probably as well it could have been some sort of spirit guide. So we don't connect with all our spirit guides. It's like how I have this YouTube and I have 30,000 subscribers, a solid few thousand that are constantly supporting me and keep up with what I do. But it's like I don't know each of the 30,000 individuals individually. It doesn't mean they don't support me. So I almost wonder if it's like you have this big team of spirit guides, you don't necessarily know him individually because you're so connected and devoted to source rather than connecting to your guides. Like God, as you perceive God, is like what you're choosing to connect to rather than like the lower helpers, the lower vibrational helpers around you. But I almost feel like it's like you have a team of supporters. I feel like the abuse caught his attention. He kept an eye on it, and then you opened up a portal so strong with your pain and suffering that he was able to come through and make you an offer that you chose to refuse, which was great. So, because now you're in a higher, happier vibration, you know? So, that's my take on all of that. But if you have thoughts, please leave them in the comments below. I'm sure that Scar would appreciate this. I would appreciate it as well. I will link my email so that you can send me your stories, guys. Please, I'm super excited. I have plenty of my own, but I like this. This is fun. So if you have had an experience like this that you want me to break down, or if you have something going on that you'd like to share on the channel and get the input of not only myself but others, please send it to the email that will be in the pinned comment below. Like this video if you liked it, comment if you got something to say, subscribe if you feel like it, and thanks for joining me, guys. This was so much fun. I love you, and I hope to see you another time. Okay, bye-bye. And I will see you another time. Okay, bye.